Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Alternate Reality. It's your boy Migs. Thanks for stopping by. And probably wondering from the title, what is Migs talking about today? Well, before I started recording my usual routine, that I do in the morning, that I start doing my recordings for my gameplay and stuff like that, I kind of thought to myself, man, Migs, you gotta talk to your people, man. So my people, let's talk for a second. I woke up and it probably you guys deal with this as well, all of you guys, maybe if you're my age, 35, you remember the 90s. And it kind of hit me today because today I'm sitting down and I'm watching, my kids just sitting around watching TV and, everything is so different. They don't have a routine. They don't have a routine to their day anymore. How we used to, you know what I mean? We remember we used to wake up like around 7 o'clock in the morning, maybe six sometimes. And you would catch that morning lineup of, your TV shows. Um, I can tell you mine's right off the bat. Mine's right off the bat was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which for me that was one of the shows that I remember to this day very clearly when I was a kid. That was one of my favorite shows to watch. My mother would put me in front of the TV show because she was a single mother at the time, and that's how she got all her stuff done. So I would sit down in the front of my living room and watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Sorry, and have my Pop Tarts. That was always a routine. My Pop Tarts, yes, I had my Pop Tarts and with the bowl of cereal. Bowl of cereal, 90s had the best cereal lineups out there. I remember as I grew older, the cereals kind of got even better. I remember Cinnamon Toast Crunch came out with the French Toast Crunch, and it's out now, but it's nothing like this OG right here. That's when you knew that's the original right there, not the one we're dealing with now. This one was by far when it was introduced in the 90s, man, that was the hottest cereals to get. And I remember sometimes I would have to go to a couple different stores just to find it. The other one was also, I think it's called Treats. It was somewhat of a Rice Krispies treat, little squares into a cereal. Wow, let me tell you, that cereal, how the kids say now, was bussin'. That cereal was busting back in the days. I know you guys can agree with me because everybody was eating that cereal when we were kids. Remember my TV lineup also changed as the years went by. I remember watching the Animaniacs. I think I'm saying it right. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. But yeah, that was always a must to watch, along with Pinky and the Brain, one of my all-time favorite cartoons. These kids don't know anything about that, but they were actually, Brain was actually up to something. You know what I mean? Every time he was an entrepreneur, he was a young entrepreneur. He was teaching us how to be an entrepreneur and how to take over the world in his mind. Another one is Tiny Toons. Tiny Toons, as we all remember, was pretty much the little kids of the Looney Tunes. We all thought that was like, for me, I thought that was their kids. I was like, damn, Bugs Bunny actually has two kids, man. You know what I mean? But it actually was. It was just like, their little brother, little sister. And I found that show to be awesome, man. I love that show growing up, along with Rugrats. Can't forget about the Rugrats, all time favorite. As I got older, of course, you started kind of moving away from that, and you started entering like the comic book stage and the animated stage, and of course, with that age came, like, I want to say around 9 years old, 10 years old. That came around. You had Power Rangers. Power Rangers was one of the most anticipated shows you would wake up to watch. They always had a brand new episode, and if you were a kid, you were stuck in your TV, sitting down with a bowl of cereal, waiting to watch that. That was for me. It's morphin' time. So, you know what I mean? That was for sure. I was there with my little hand doing this, doing that Yuko. I was like, yeah, Yuko, there's more for time. But yeah, that was me. That was me. That was one of those kids. Along with that, you had Voltron. Voltron was also a great animated, what I thought was like a Power Rangers, because you had all these lines coming together and becoming a big ass robot. and I was like, yo, that's like Power Rangers. We got to remember DuckTales. DuckTales was pretty much one of our childhood cartoons as well. It always made me think about it, man. If I ever had a pit where there was like whole mess of money and I could dive into it, I'll probably end up with a concussion. You know, because I would see the duck just jump right into that, and I would think like, "Oh my god, I wish one day I could do that." Yeah, right. I'll probably end up coming out with a concussion, a broken neck, rotated disc misplaced or something. God, cartoons back then made us think that we could just do whatever we want and not get hurt. It came over to the afternoon. I would always grab my bike, my mongoose, grab my bike, write it down, to my boy David's house, knock on his house. He was up probably around the same time. We would talk about the episodes that we just saw, so on and so forth. Yeah, talking about our bikes, if you had a mongoose bike back in the days, you were kind of the shit. You were the shit. You were the little kid that everybody wanted to hang out with. You had to make sure that you had the pegs in the front, the pegs in the back. You were styling out. You were styling out. That's how you knew you had it going on. I would also go out skating. Inline skating was really big during our era. And I mean, if you had something like this, you're pretty cool. If you had your skates and you had anything planned out for the night, you knew where you were at. You were either at Hot Wheels or you were either at Thunder Wheels, which Thunder Wheels always had kind of a schedule for you. That was kind of our like preteen kind of era where you would pretty much go with your friends. You always try to get a date before you got there, since they always did slow dance and they would kick you out if you didn't weren't holding hands with somebody. So, you always try to ask the prettiest girl on the block, hey, you want to go to Thunder Wheels with me? And if she was like, yeah, for sure. We're like, oh, yeah, you the man. You were like, hell yeah, I got me a date. I don't got to get off the skating rink for anything. Field trips. Field trips as a 90s kid was exciting, very different because I'm a Hispanic child. So I'm a Hispanic child to a single mother, and my mother didn't really do what other mothers at that time would do. So, for example, when I would go on a field trip, everybody we used to go on a field trip, in your class field trip, you were always excited the day before or the morning of to go to not Walmart. Walmart didn't even exist at that time. To go to Publix. Publix was the thing for me, or Winn-Dixie. And you made sure that you asked your mom or your dad, and you were like, hey, can I get a Lunchables? Because the Lunchables were the thing to have for field trips. I would always think that my mom would get me that. And we will actually go the morning of, and I'd be like, geez, mom, why are you waiting to the morning of? Yeah, my mom didn't get me no Lunchables. My mom is Cuban. My mom took me to a bakery, which at that time, our favorite bakery was Rosie's Bakery. And she asks the person behind the counter, yes, let me have Cuban preparada, a sandwich preparada, which pretty much a preparada is this right here. It consists of a Cuban bread, which you could pretty much only get in Miami. It had ham, cheese, mayonnaise with mustard, and they would put these things called croquetas. So croquetas it's like a fried, and it comes with different flavors. It's like a little mozzarella, but it's not mozzarella because it doesn't have cheese inside, but it's mozzarella with ham flavoring pretty much. And they would put 3 of those into the sandwich and kind of just splash it together. Boom, and that was Cuban preparada. And I will go with that. Would have a along with that. That this was my lunchable. Along with the preparada, the lunchable will come with my Cuban lunchable will come with a materba. And for my candy, as Lunchables have little candies, I had a guayaba and cheese pastry. Yeah, a guayaba and cheese pastelito is what we call it in our Cuban language. And that was my Lunchable when I went to field trips. My Lunchable was a sandwich, which, if you think about it, Lunchables came with things already for you to make. It was either the pizzas or the crackers, or you had the nachos. Mine's was a sandwich with the materba, which Lunchables come with the Capri Sun, and I had a pastelito, which were Lunchables, what, Reese's Pieces or Nestle Crunch. So I didn't see it. I was always mad, and my mom was like, "Oh God," because I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to have the Lunchables just like everybody. But my mom, I thank her to this day. My mom, she hooked it up. She knew what she was doing. She was making sure her son was good throughout the whole day, that I was full, because that sandwich was probably like this big, and they cut it into two. So I ate one when I was in the field trip, and I even had some to bring back at home. And everybody at the lunch, pretty much when we sat down to eat our lunch, everybody was just looking at me like, "Damn, Migs, you got it going on. I'm already done here. You got like a whole course meal there." So I thank my mother. For that. Mom, thank you so much. I appreciate it. When you were done finally playing outside, having a great time, you knew that it was time to come back outside. Your mom was screaming at you, which for me was Megan, Megan. That's all I heard. Oh my God, I can still hear her talking. Oh my God, I can hear my grandmother right here in the back of my ear. Jesus Christ. But but yeah, man, my best friend David would look at me, he was like, "Oh, it's time for me to go inside as well, Migs." And I was like, "Yeah." So I will wrap up the day and go inside, take a shower, relax, have dinner, your typical Cuban dinner, rice with beans with steak, call it a night by just sitting down on your bed, turning on the TV. And it was either between, no, it wasn't between anything. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, I remember the lineup of Nickelodeon was kind of like Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which was okay. I would watch it from time to time, but I was always waiting after Sabrina. It was always Keenan and Kel, which was my favorite show growing up. I still watch it to today. Thanks, Netflix, for bringing that back to us. Thank you so much. And yeah, I would watch Keenan and Kel. Right after Keenan and Kel, you had All That. And All That was super awesome, because All That was these young kids. They were doing skits, which was pretty much Saturday Night Live, but PG. And at the end of the skit, you will have a performance from one of the biggest artists at that time will come on, and you will come on. Everybody will be dancing. I'll be in my room like, yeah, 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 yeah. I was doing my thing. I was watching Immature. I was like, Immature in the house, and I was just dancing and vibing. And that's how I spent a good Saturday night. I spent it like that, and I would just kind of like wait until the WB will come out with their lineup, which was at that time I would watch Martin. I don't know if it was in the WB though. I'm not too sure about that. Don't quote me on that. But I would watch Martin because this was already like late. Like I would stay up. I would stay up late pretty much, and I would catch Martin. I didn't know what the hell was going on. I would just laugh when the audience would laugh as well. And my favorite show from that late night lineup had to be the Wayans Brothers. The Wayans Brothers. To me, that was one of my favorite, one of my all time favorite. It holds such a special place in my heart, and it does as well with my best friend, because that was the person that I was religiously watching it with. We would sit down, we would crack jokes. We will never forget that first time it came out on DVD, and we drove to Walmart and we bought the DVD set, and we spent the night. We were probably like 22 years old. We spent the whole night just watching the whole first episode and kind of reliving our childhood again. And that show will always be for me a masterpiece. All right, so there you have it, guys. That was a typical Saturday morning, afternoon, and evening in the life of Miggs when he was in his younger years. But thank you guys so much for stopping by and actually clicking on the video and just taking some time to check it out. I appreciate it so much. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. I would love to hear some of you guys' feedback. Hit me up in the comment. Let me know, what was your routine back when you were younger? What did you do from the morning, afternoon to the night? How did you spend a typical Saturday morning? Don't forget to subscribe. If you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. It'll mean so much to me. Hit that bell notification as I have other videos that are coming out. I still have to finish up Call of Duty, and I'm starting the Gotham Knights today. Actually, I'm gonna actually have hopefully part 1 out by today, and hopefully also part 2 of Call of Duty. Thank you so much again for checking out the video once again. This is your boy Miggs, and this is Alternate Reality. See you soon.